Okay.
Yeah, so there'll be probably, if it's anything like Zoom, there'll probably be like a 30 to 60 second delay. But welcome. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Today we are joined by our wonderful and amazing and sensational director and overall like head producer, head creator. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Probably yes, amazing. We can hear the YouTube is live. Beautiful. Okay, we're joined by our amazing director, creator, head producer, driving force behind this entire project, Sis. Our amazing video editor, Gavin, and our two beautiful, beautiful playwrights, Antonio and Gage. So we are going to go ahead and get started in a little bit with our first guest who's going to ask their question as soon as our wonderful assistant director,
We may not be here yet. We layered it like at 45 minutes. Yeah. So I think we have like time.
Oh, amazing. All right. Well, then how are y'all feeling today? Let y'all talk. How are you feeling today? How do you feel about the show last night? Gavin's like polite nod.
You're on mute, Gavin.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I've never used this program. I feel great. Like the show was such a success. Like I'm so happy it went so well. And it just feels good to have the work out there. It's been like on one little computer for this whole like past couple weeks, and you know it feels good that it's just like out and about.
I'm like sad.
Me too. Honestly, I'm like, oh, it's a word. It's over. Like,
I mean, it's not over. It's just this portion of it. I'm just like, all right, because there was so much momentum building up to it, and we were like, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? It's happening. And then it was like the best roller coaster you could ever get on, and now we're like off of it, and we're on our way to like the next roller coaster.
Yeah.
But we're looking for it. We don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just blessed. Like I think today we've all just been kind of like if this was a scene in the show, it would be like we're in the stars right now, kind of just floating. Because I'm just like, all right, but Sis been hectic, and I'm at my desk, and I'm like,
yeah.
I added more people to the creative team, and I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like let's make the family bigger. Come on.
Yeah.
Antonio, Gage, how did it feel to see your words come to life so like materially, so tangibly?
It was insane. Cause like, okay, so like someone not like in a mean way, but they were like making fun of me. They were like, not Antonio like live tweeting as if he didn't write it. And I was like, no, y'all don't understand. Like I didn't see the final cut of everything together. Like that was my first time watching it was when everyone else was watching it. So I was shook. I was like, this is like beautiful and amazing. And just like all the editing and the way everything was put together. So it was exciting. I was sad that it went by so fast, even though that's like a good thing. But like, it was like, I was like, I don't want it to end like ever.
Yeah, because like remember there was like a point where we were all like, damn, this shit gonna be long. Like this shit gonna be, and it was like 10 minutes. I'm like, Gage, Anthony, we need some more scenes, honey. How do you feel, Gage?
I don't know, because there's always like a part of writing things where when you're listening to it back for the first time. I don't know if you felt like this, Antonio, but I was like hearing it, even though it was so good, I was like, oh, I already know how it can be better. I already know how we can like tweak this line or tweak these characters, because it was just like a first like workshop reading basically, and it was already so good. But my mind was already like spiraling with like, oh, I know how we can make this better. I know how we can make this better.
Yeah.
This can be fixed. This can be changed to make the show as a whole come together a lot better.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like this was like sort of not the first draft because like scenes were rewritten, but like kind of the first draft. Like
yeah. And for the first draft to be received so well is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that just goes to show like we didn't really have time to second guess ourselves. We didn't have time to question it. it was very much so like we got to grow. But yeah, like how do y'all? I don't know. I don't know.
We're just like dreaming. Like this is like
it feels like a dream. Like y'all, we just got a really cool email about next generation. Like there's just so much happening, and I'm just like what? Like this is crazy, you know. And I just am like, I'm ready to see what's gonna happen with this show. Like what's next? Like, what in the show last night? What did y'all like? What was y'all's favorite part? Like what? Yeah.
My favorite part was like all of this is like I loved it. Everything was my favorite part. But like if I had to be like super specific and pick a super specific detail, simply because like I hadn't seen it yet, was like all of the backgrounds and like the transitions and like how Gavin and Sis, like how y'all laid it out, and like it was so creative and like so everything like felt right, and I was like, yeah, that makes total sense. And like the backgrounds were, and like when the lounge for the guides came in, I was like, oh my god, I was like the pink and the clouds, and it was just, that was my favorite part, was like watching the little details that were put into the show. And I think that's like one of the other reasons why it was received so well, is like how much attention we paid to all the details, not just in terms of like the script and the acting, but like everything as a production. So yeah, that was my favorite.
I think that I loved the I think a lot of people got this too, just based on reading like the Twitter comments, is that like the Zoom theater thing, this was so different from what how other people have done like Zoom theater before. It was like we used Zoom to our advantage and to our benefit rather than as a detriment. We were like, this is how it's going to be. So like, how do we make it work? I remember my favorite part was the end of Act 2. The end of Act 2 with all of the guides coming around and everyone on Twitter being like, wait, what just happened? What just happened? Yeah. That's exactly how like an Act 2 should end before intermission. I love
That's so crazy because y'all, Act 2, Kaya, is Kaya here? Y'all, Kaya me the fuck up. Like, so everything was like timed and planned out in my head, is like the sequencing and stuff like that. And Act 2 was just the last thing because there was so much to it. I was like, okay, I want to move that. Like, that'll be the last thing I focus on in work. Yes, Kaya's here. Y'all, Kaya ate me the fuck up and went off of me because Kaya wrote a song for the show, and it was the end of Act 2. And she's like, you waited till the last fucking minute to put my shit in.
It was the night before.
And she was correct, you know, but it wasn't a last minute thing. It was just more so a thing of like, I wanted to give this my attention that I needed, like directorially. And so it was just hard because I was just like, how the fuck we gonna do this? Like on, you know, in this manner. And people keep saying this thing about it being a Zoom play. It's not a Zoom play. The only reason that we use Zoom was to record it. This is a virtual Broadway show. Because we had to use Zoom to record it and everything else. But everything else, you know, all the elements that like Gavin's editing, like it was very much so a movie. Yes. But yeah, so the elements of the end of Act 2 were just like, how are we gonna do it? And we had like this whole page that Antonio, because even when Antonio was writing it, Antonio was like, okay, what's happening here? And I was like, Antonio, I don't know, like it wasn't hit. It was there. But it was just like, okay. And so Antonio like wrote this beautiful, like, I was like, I just need imagery. Just give us this imagery, you know. And Antonio was like, okay. And got me this beautiful page of imagery. And then Anna Maria like went in reading the stage directions. And literally we were recording the guides and Kaya. And I was just like, y'all, just look at the camera. Just literally look at the camera. Gavin, we have to find that video of us doing it the first time and I'll bust out laughing. But I was like, okay, guides, look at the camera just mystically. Like, do some shit here, do some shit here. And then Kaya, I was like, Kaya, just look at the camera, please. And just like, look shook. And then we went into editing. And then like Gavin showed me the scene. And I was like, okay, that's something. Like Gavin edited himself, that's something. And then we got the song that we were using. And I was like, Gavin, can you find me some water? Just fine. Like, can we get? And that's very much how it is. Even Gavin was like, okay, you're gonna have to be a little bit more descriptive of what you need. I was like, just find me some water, baby. And then, like, I don't know how it happened, but me and Gavin got on Zoom. We was hot. And I was like, okay, this, like this. Gavin was like, okay, let's try like this, that. And it was just a collaborative moment. The song, we put the song in. It was a lot of cutting up Anna Maria's text. I was like, damn, this bitch is going off on the stage directions. It was a lot of chopping that up. And then it just came to be. And I was like, wow,
So good. And to answer the person who asked in the chat, Gavin did all the editing, and we're going to be talking about the editing process later because, like, Gavin went all the way in, just like so much work for weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also for those watching, if y'all have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them if we can. But yes, Gavin, sis, what were y'all favorite parts of last night?
I think of last night was just like everyone we had like a little like get together, and like we were just like, it was so like good. Like the energy was amazing. Like we were just like, this is like happening. Like we can just sit and watch it, like all this work, But my favorite part of the show is the end of Act 2 for sure. But my favorite line in the show specifically is whenever Miss Merriweather doing the church scene, and she says, "I'm getting over a cold." That's the funniest part of the show to me. That, and then when Miss Reyes comes in the barbecue scene and says, "Where should I set these beans, Susan?" Gold. But yes, those are my favorite parts for sure.
Yeah, also our graphic designer who graphic designs for TNG project designed all the backgrounds for the show. So all like any like all the promo, all the press, everything. Jacob Smith designed it. You can add him at Jacob Midday. Yes, Jacob designed everything. Anything that's like animated or whatever, Jacob did. Love Jacob. I mean, for me, Gage, you really, the guide scene just was like top tier representation theater for me. Like I never really have seen anything like that. You know what I mean? And like directing on Zoom, don't recommend for nobody because that shit was hard. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And so last night when y'all were like getting they were like getting like Antonio, like somebody said y'all like somebody said something about it was about the
someone was like a couple of people actually were like, did Damon get into Howard because Andrea died? So it was like, it was very much like, oh, like we never said that, but like the fact that people are like reading into the story.
When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, maybe.
And a lot of stuff was making sense for me, but even like, and I think somebody made a comment about like it seems like every character like is important. Like nobody is just falls to wayside. And that was the conversation that we had. I was like, I just want everybody, because like emotional people come in and come out. And I think the only person we gotta add to is Nia, honey, because she just be working on her kids. But I think the guide sign scene. I think right now my favorite line in the show, Jasmine says, "Does that make sense?" And it's the way she says it in the delivery is so perfect. I think that it's just so correct. Always going that extra mile to get clarity. Does that make sense? Are you getting it? Are you with us? So I love it. I'm gonna miss the stage directions. So
they're gonna miss the stage directions when this gets fully produced.
Me too.
Poetry.
You might not. We can do.
Oh, I was gonna say, I remember the first time we started writing, Gage was talking about how he loves stage directions that are kind of their own character, like when you're reading the script. And so like he was already doing that when he first sent in his pages, but like that when he said that, I was like, oh, so we're gonna write that kind of play. Like, okay, I can do, like, we can work with that. So that was like, I think that's why we put so much, and we knew Anna Maria was gonna be reading them, so like there was like we really put our foot into the stage directions. Like we ate that up. Like it was, I love the stage directions a lot. But yeah.
Right, and it's so interesting because I sent the play to two people who I always let read the plays that I write before we were like just to get their like initial response, and I was like, "Do you know which scenes I wrote?" And they were like, "Honestly, I like can't tell you because it flows so well, and our voices just fit each other so well that like it's so hard to tell who wrote which scene. You would never know unless we told you."
Yeah.
It was so consistent, like so beautiful, so stylistically on it.
And isn't that fucking crazy that like we were able to write a play by being like, Antonio, you take this, Gage, you take this. Like that's how we wrote a 3-act play.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I don't know. I just think that there's something to do with talent. Like by Gage and Antonio, like Gage didn't know who Antonio was. Antonio didn't know who Gage was. Like it was literally just like. And they did that, and not just y'all so fucking funny. I don't know how y'all do.
No, yeah, y'all are like such a dynamic duo and such good listeners, and so mindful, and just so in touch with the characters and stories you're telling. Like y'all, this really snapped when she put y'all together. Like casting.
I don't. And then if there was even times I was like, y'all don't be fighting me. Because I was ready for a tussle. Like I was ready. I'm ready for a tussle. Like Gavin will give me my tussle. But Antonio and Gage, they were like, okay. I've been talking. They were like, sometimes I have to look at Antonio and be like, what?
My face.
Antonio really does that. He'll just be like,
and he's like, I'm just thinking. And I'm like, all right.
You go, Antonio.
No, I was gonna say it was when I was in school, like when college, like there was this one time I had this director and they were talking about how like the like more experienced people they work with are like really good at like listening and like taking it in, and the less experienced people are always like, yeah, I totally get you, like, and like trying to explain their reasoning behind what they're doing versus just like taking it in. So that's always like stuck with me. So that's why I'm always just like just listening, like, and just like, yeah. But it does look like I'm angry sometimes. I understand that, but
I remember when Sis first called me to ask about being involved, and I was like, yeah, I'll come to like the Zoom meeting and like we can talk about it. And then before I even knew it, Sis was then like, yeah, so Gage is going to be writing the show with Antonio. And I was like, wait, I agree.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. I was just like, okay, bet. Like,
I mean, even Anna Maria, y'all, no. Literally, what happened? Yasmin has a screenshot. She posted on her Twitter. Yasmin retweeted so they can see. Literally, it was. I got off the phone with the publishing company, and they were like, the estate said no, baby girl, and I was like, and I called Gavin, and then after I got told with Gavin, and I was talking to Yasmin, I tweeted out, and I said, I need some writers. Anna Maria, Herb, and Antonio told my DMs, and we were like talking. I was like, okay, we're gonna have a Zoom meeting tonight. I was like, hey Gage, it's Sis. And I was like, this is the time, because me and Gage have been talking about collaborating on a project for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, it's time. And so I was like, let's get in this meeting. And I wasn't asking no questions. We was talking to everybody, talking about their strengths and what they do. And I was like, okay, so here's what we is. So yeah, Gage, go ahead and you'll write this. You write it. And then it just happened. Then everybody, no questions. And it period. Because you don't have time to question it. You can't question it.
such good energy, like truly. Also, we have a question in the chat. Does that good flow have to do some with what Gage said last night about just being a vessel for the stories of your characters and collaborators? Y'all are like, yes, next.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's like, and it was sort of like what I was saying when I was talking about, I had a question last night on the stage door about like Afro-Latinx representation and things like that, and how like that I integrated that. I think a lot of that is like listening. It's like very easy. Like the flow comes itself when you're listening and you're kind of just like not transcribing, but like we didn't have to necessarily like imagine these situations because they're real. So like it's a little easier like when we can draw from your own life, or like people are telling you stories and you're like, this is real, this is a real story. So it's like, and then we just add a little theater drama into it. So
and there were also like a lot of questions about like, okay, this white person is about to write help write the story for BIPOC people and things like that. And I had seen a play that Gage had written in KCCTF called Boys Who Wear Dresses.
Sons that love dresses and mothers that love sweet potatoes.
Yes. Sons who wear dresses and mothers that love sweet potatoes at the Kennedy Center. That's when me and Gage met. And I was like, okay, Gage gets it. Gage understands how to write for us. And it was very much so like, okay, I'll tell the story and y'all will flesh it out. And Gage was a vessel for me in the way of like, I was able to tell Gage my story and he was able to gather it up and gather it together and get it together and write it so eloquently that our offering needed. Because I was like, I don't write, y'all. I was like, if we write, it is over. We can go pack up and go home. So I was like, Gage, because Gage was more, I would say like Gage was more in charge of like the guide. Gage was like the guide. Like Gage wrote anything that the guide did. So it was very much, me and Gage collaborating on that. And so it was just me talking to Gage and telling him my story and Gage just being a vessel for that. And like, okay, I will use my strengths in your story and your words. And we will get this. So that's yeah.
Gage, and I will also extend this question to Antonio as well. Where can we buy/read some of your work if that is applicable?
My pinned tweet on Twitter has all of the information about where you can buy my plays. They're $15 a full length, $5 for 10 minutes.
He said, follow me on Twitter. What are y'all doing?
Go buy the plays.
You'll see the link to all of my plays on my website. It's all on there. So thanks for the plug.
we will drop everybody's social media in the chat afterwards. Antonio, how can we best support you?
Thank you, Riley. You guys so sweet.
I'm just now getting, I had started college playwriting and then I like took a break and just like focused on acting. So this is actually the first thing that I've written in like 2 years. And so I'm getting back into it. So I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you updated.
Y'all follow him too. We'll drop those info toward the end of the talk back. I guess the next question I have for everybody is, and we'll start with Gavin, unless you don't want to, you can just be like, pass. What do you feel, what is the thing that you had to personally overcome most prominently over the course of this process? But Gavin, you can start us off.
Sure.
So I think a lot of times, like, it's hard for me to sit down and get work done. I had like a week and a half really to edit from start to finish because we filmed pretty much the whole show, and then it was like, okay, like go ahead and edit these scenes. They're finalized because this is a workshop. So like things were changing. Like sometimes we would film a scene and then we would have to refilm the scene because things would change or whatever. And so basically, like, I think I started editing on the 6th or 7th of this month. And so it was a lot of waking up at like 8 a.m. and then like literally locking myself in my room and just like forcing myself to get these scenes done, because it's a lot of work, takes a lot of time. And so basically, like, I was able to tell myself, like, okay, you can do this, because it was a lot of me being like, sis, I'm worried, like, I'm stressed out, like that this is not going to get done, like I'm hopeful, but like it's stressful, like my computers, I don't have a huge like desktop computer that's like $6,000, like, so, we were trying to make everything work with what we had, and we made it work. Like that's why it was so rewarding watching it last night. Because
you ran the greatest scam of all. I'm not gonna tell you what or how or why, but just know shit is the scammer.
But yeah, like, yeah, and it was just a lot of sis being like, come on, like, we can do this, let's do it, and just like pushing me through, and it really just showed me, hey, we can do anything, like we can do anything we want,
And the way you finessed that and made a masterpiece, goodness gracious.
Thank you.
And it is very much, I mean, I think this is the thing. When you are a creator and you're creative, you have to surround yourself with people that understand your vision. Meaning, not your vision of the specific project, your vision in life, right? You have to surround yourself around people who understand you and how you operate and why you do what you do and who you are. And when you do that, creating is much easy because everybody's playing the position, right? Center, guard, right guard, coaching this, all this, and we're all on the same page. Because if we're not on the same page, then the work is not going to happen. So when I say, oh, Gavin, like, I'm looking for this, and Gavin's not with the vision or not understanding it, then it's not going to happen the way we need it to. But we were all on the same page. And that's why there's so much magic here, because we see each other. And we will continue to do that. You know what I mean? And I keep saying this, like, Gavin has been editing. Like, Gavin has literally go to Life with Bootsy, the YouTube page, and you will see all of Gavin's amazing creations, especially Life with Bootsy Christmas. Like, this is nothing. Thankfully, this is nothing new. Yeah.
Anybody else is also welcome to answer that same question. What was y'all's biggest thing to overcome in this process?
I got 3 letters.
I guess in terms of like the project itself.
Mia's just reliving trauma silently.
Y'all, no. Artistically, I guess, of course, it's always hard to write stuff. It's easier when you like are actually super passionate about what you're writing, and like it's like, and like it's good, but like it's good, and it's like you're like, oh my god, like this is actually saying something. So like that was easy. But there's always like, I don't know. I feel like Gage, you're kind of the same way, but like when you're like a perfectionist, like that's like overcoming like and Sis, you helped me a lot with this too. Like especially like when Kai and I were doing our scenes, like Kai and I are both perfectionists. So Sis was always like, every time we would finish a scene, we'd be like, so we're gonna do that again, right? And Sis would be like, we don't have the time for that. And we would be like, whoa. But like, so for me personally, like overcoming that like perfectionism and like learning how to just have like the raw, like just first draft and be like, this may change later, but like this is what I've got right now, and like that's okay. So like that was like definitely artistically very validating in terms of like the process, but also like something that I had to like tackle and get over.
And that's such a crucial part of like any artist's journey, because like I feel like we are all mad perfectionists. And we really are our own enemies sometimes, truly.
Just when you care about something a lot, you're like, you want it to be the best that it can possibly be. Yeah.
For sure.
It was the time limit for me.
It was what?
The time limit.
Oof. Heard?
You said on like the first day, you said I really work on time limits. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
I remember that Gage was like, I don't really believe in deadlines.
It was hard. I've never done like I've never had a deadline for work. So when Sis called me and was like, I need the script in like 2 weeks from today, and it's got to be a full length, and it's got to be for a cast of like nearly 30 people, and everyone has to have a role, and everyone has to have a character arc. And I've already cast it, so you have to write for these people. I was like, okay, yes, we can do it. And then I hung up the phone and I was like, I don't know if I can do it or not. I don't know if I can.
And it was very much business.
We did it in 10.
10. And it was very much business. I said, I called Maria. Everybody on the team, I told them what was needed and the job requirements. I said, can you do it? Yes or no? Because if not, I'm going to find somebody else. And everyone said, yes, I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it. And I had to call Gage back because I was like, wait. I was like, hey, so, it'll be fluid. Are you still, but y'all did it, bitch. And now look at us.
10 days.
The amount of times we use the word fluid during this process, like it's a process. I love it. How about you, Sis? What was like,
Artistically, I didn't, and creatively, I didn't really have any hurdles. There was a couple of hurdles for Baby Girl. I will be honest. There are people in this world who don't like people to succeed because they don't see things as it's being more than just them or more than some little thing. You have to always look at the bigger picture, right? And so when you're dealing with people who aren't looking at the bigger picture, they're only looking at themselves in the picture and in their frame and how they look. And then so creatively, I honestly didn't. This was on my heart. This was God called me to do this. Like, I am here on this earth for like I think that this is the pinnacle of my creation up to this point in my 23rd year of life. So creatively, I felt I was with it. I think it was I had so triumphs was directing 40 people on fucking Zoom. Like, that shit sucks. Like, I wouldn't recommend. That needs to be an Olympic sport because directing is about energy, or at least my directing is, right? And so having to just not being able to be in the room and feeling people's energy, and then you're just stuck looking at somebody. So if somebody looks weird, and you're I take on everybody's emotions. I took on 40 people's emotions every day. And so it was I was having a hard time directing because I was okay, well, are y'all tired? If y'all, and I didn't say that, I was just okay, they're tired, they're done. This is it. I don't want to push. And sometimes they was just looking at the script, people, but a bitch over here was shut. So I was just okay, how can we do this and how can we make that happen? And so I would say that, just the virtual aspect. But everybody had a triumph, right? And everybody had a bridge to cross because for Gage it was deadlines, for Gavin it was deadlines. Antonio, I guess what was it? What would you say for you? Anna Maria, even Anna Maria is a busy bitch. Anna Maria is busy.
Easy.
So I had to be Anna Maria, we need to talk. Antonio, what would you say a one word triumph for you was
Well, personally, doing acting and writing it, I was I'm not gonna be able to do this.
But you gave that away so easily. I was so what are you thinking about this? And we were I just wrote that. I'm not you're the director. And I was okay. So I mean, you let it go. You were
yeah. Well, and I guess okay, I will say this. One of the biggest triumphs of it's difficult being I don't know how people do this constantly, all the big famous people, writing and then acting at the same time, because you're in the room so much and you're watching people handle your words while you're acting with them, and it's very it's not easy. It's very hard to balance, and you really have the whole actor thing where they're you have to get out of your head. You really have to get out of your head. You really just have to take the hat off and then put the other hat on and be I'm an actor today. I'm the playwright, another time. And it's you have to pick and choose what space to inhabit depending on what's going on. And so the fact that I was able to do that was a big triumph for me. And I was I we'll see if I do it again, but it's it was definitely a fun challenge. So yeah.
Well, truly, you were sometimes you put on your acting hat, but mid rehearsal we were Antonio, you put on the writing hat too.
Very much, Antonio. We the last scene that we had to film. We had to film a scene 3 days ago because footage was lost. And I was all right, Antonio got in the chat, and I was oh, Antonio, we gotta rewrite this real quick. Write this for me, baby girl. I was and I, as a creator, you just making shit up. You making shit up on the fly. I was oh, okay. So what happens is Miss Reyes can be asleep, honey, and the kids can be sitting there eating breakfast. And Antonio was send it back. And it was over. You know what I mean? Somebody said, what did the directing and recording process look like for y'all? So the recording and directing process looked like for me, we did 2.5 weeks of pre-production. So we were in meetings every day for 2.5 weeks before, fleshing out the script, figuring out how we were going to execute this, what we were going to do. And that really prepared us to bring in the actors, so did that 2.5 weeks, then recorded the show in 3 weeks, and then 1.5 weeks edited and executed the show. So directing was just for me more so just on the fly because there was no time. And because there was very sometimes I was getting a script ahead of time, but most of the time I just had it in the moment. And I was also like doing TNG stuff and doing shirts. Like there was time where I would like literally 4:55 get home and then 5 minutes in. So I think that it was just a very quick process. I think we did it in about 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's like crazy timeline. And we actually have our very first guest. They donated, and so they were able to. Hello, Bex. Hello. Welcome.
I'm so glad I did not curse at the surprise. Hello.
You can curse, bitch.
No standards of white professionalism here. Come on.
I just wanted to say show last night was absolutely incredible. I cried for most of Act 3, like you do. But I know that the original, I don't know if it was the original idea, but I saw the tweet last night that was like, you wanted to get the rights to our town. And they were like, no. And they were like, well, we'll make something better. What I wanted to know, because I was also looking at the whole time, I was like, okay, that's kind of similar to Art Town, but does it better. But then there's that parallel. I want to know what you intentionally kept as a parallel and what you like scrapped, because it was just like stupid Thornton Wilder stuff. He wrote that?
Yeah. I think this is Becky's gonna take us to jail. We were very careful because we didn't want to copy this work. It was very hard because it was like I wanted to do this show about community, right? And Our Town executes it so perfectly in this white world. And I was like, how do we make this for us and make it not Our Town? And me and Anna Maria was like, the language was very something that we had to figure out and facilitate. I think like what happened, we were just like looking at like mini shows, because like even Pippin like came up, just like the execution of how you can execute a guide and how a narrator and things like that. So for me, it was just as like creating piece, I was like, how do we just get away from that, but still keep the themes that are in not only that, I mean, even Romeo and Juliet, like there are many shows with like strong themes that present themselves here, but also like, how do you execute that on stage and things like that? So there wasn't really a time where we were like, copy and paste, rewrite. It was more so just like, okay, what are essences from shows on community? And this show is more so a protest to our town, showcasing that like we tell our stories in our shows. Stop doing revivals. And that's something that came to me because I was trying to revive our town in this way. And I was like, no, bitch, like you can't do that because you're still misrepresented. Like, and so now we have this piece that is about community and love and life and death and anger and a journey, but we are seeing it through the BIPOC eye, and we're seeing it through the queer eye, where you are being led by a Black trans woman. And we still don't even know where the guide came from. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, and Antonio and Gage, like, definitely,
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to that and say, like, specifically for myself, when I started my first scene, I maybe like read Our Town like once, not like I've read it before, but like for this specific project, like I maybe read it once, and I was like, how does this playwright like create this world, and like how does this playwright write this experience of these kids? Because like Our Town is very like mundane, like it has the bigger themes, but like it's very like normal day-to-day life. And I was like, how does he showcase these people? And then I was like, okay. And then I closed the book and I put it back on the shelf. And I was like, how am I going to showcase my people? Like he's very good at like Thornton Wilder did whatever with the white kids, but I was like, how am I going to show like Black and brown kids, like how we live? And so it was sort of like I like looked at that and I was like, okay. And then I sort of like just went forward. And then Gage, you can talk about this, but like as we wrote, like it sort of just got super far like into our own thing. Like it was just very like, especially by the time you get to Act 3, like it's just like that was our own, like with the Cheetah Girls and like all of that stuff. Like that was Sis and that was our stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Sis asked me, was like, have you read Our Town before? And I was like, oh yeah, of course I read Our Town before. I've never read Our Town before. And when we had started doing, because our original idea was like this, keep the same structure of Our Town, but like change the language, change the characters, but like have the same structure. So I was actually having to have the script open as I was writing the beginning of Act 1 to be like, wait, okay, so what happens now? What happens now? I still have not read Act 2 or Act 3 of Our Town ever before.
You don't need to read Act 2.
I have no idea what happens, because then Sis, after that point, Sis was like, okay, we don't really need to follow this anymore. We can do our own thing. I was like, all right, well, good riddance to that PDF.
And then honestly, we went back after we written. I was like, child, I was like, y'all ain't getting my ass in no lawsuit. I was like, we need to go, because once we had Act 2 and Act 3, we could now go back and like replace like the things that basically, I guess how I would think of it is we use Our Town as a textbook. So like you read a textbook to learn history, right? So you learn how they did it, so that can better influence how you are going to do it. If you know where you came from, you can know where you're going. So I would say that's what we use to, in a way, for the script Our Town, because they executed this idea of community so beautifully, and that's what we wanted to do, but we wanted to do it from our own perspective in our own lane.
I was gonna say, and we also added so many of our like own cultural themes that like, and like our identity themes, and so like we got so far away from it just by doing that too.
Yeah, and so the show was cast, and this is me. When I have an idea in my head, I have to execute it. And so I cast the show. I cast Our Town, and then we found out we couldn't get the rights. And I was like, well, I don't want to lose all these people. And I was like, well, we can. These people are so synced to these characters, so we can keep some of like we rearrange some folk for who they are and rearrange, and then it was like, okay, well, like, so we still have this great group. So that's how kind of like the casting was just like fitting them in. And then we started talking to them and was like, well, what do you think? How do you want to be? Things like that. So I think that, it's cool that it like starts there. I guess like Act 1, especially with the Milk Dandy and the Paper Girl, but then we branch out and just go. Yeah. But thank you so much, Bex.
Thank you. Thank you. It was so cool.
Bex said it was at Debbie Ryan's.
Yeah, it's like I actually forgot for a minute that this even had anything to do with Our Town. Like it has changed so dramatically and grew on its own so organically into its own unique creation, like unrecognizable. Like we start talking about ATRs. Come on. What did the casting process look like? Like Sis just mentioned, that cast was there.
Yeah. Lit.
Yeah. Is our next question for her?
Our next question is going to be in a few minutes, I believe, at around 5:50-ish. But
is there a scene that y'all are like, I don't know how that's gonna look or how that's gonna happen?
Well, definitely the last scene in Act 2 for me.
Yeah.
I was like, how?
Because like Sis said earlier, that scene is literally just stage direction. Like there's no dialogue. So of course I was like, how, like it would be easy and like if we were in physical space, but like on this particular platform, I was like, how are we gonna do this?
That's definitely the scene that like in tech like is gonna be the like do it again. Like that's gonna like be like
like gold.
Yeah.
Actually, we do have our next guest here and present. So Sierra, you want to move on in? Hello, welcome, Noah.
Hi. Hey. First of all, I want to say it was such an amazing show last night. So my question is about, it's like kind of about editing and graphics. One of the things I feel like I miss the most with virtual shows is just like seeing the world of the play. And I feel like with our offering, this is one of the first virtual productions I've seen that's like actually engaged with like elements of design and everything like that, which was super exciting watching it. And so I was wanting to know, like how do you all see the physical world of the play, and how did you see that reflected in the graphics and the other design elements you included?
I wish Jacob was here.
Yeah,
that's okay. Gavin, our absolute icon, our king of design and editing.
So like I think whenever Sis originally approached me and was like, hey, we're doing Our Town, like, can you edit? I was like, yes, like I don't want to really do like a thing where it's just like still boxes everywhere, you know. Like we really both wanted it to like flow in and out, and like we wanted to basically like create the world, you know, like we didn't want it to like make the audience do it, like y'all, like the audience just needs to watch, you know. And basically like I was like, okay, like I see like floating boxes coming in, like originally there's a wedding scene in Our Town, and I was like let me put like a bunch of people in the corner and then have like 2 videos like sliding down the aisle, you know, like just like thinking about like how we can like the physical world, you know. But I mean that dog like
So loud. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute.
I got my fish back here. So but yeah, like it was kind of just like what we had in our heads, and then whenever it came time to like edit, like I practiced on a couple like videos that we had like meetings, like, you know, just for examples. But yeah, like when we were ready to edit, like, you know, put the videos together, and then we got the graphics pretty much after everything was edited. So I basically like imagined, like I was like, hopefully this looks right, you know, like but it all worked out so perfectly. And it was cool to see, because I basically like had seen the whole show like with a placeholder image behind everything, and then like plugging in every image and then like making all the transitions. It was like, wow, this is like life. Like this has so much life to it, you know? So it was really cool. Does that answer the question? I honestly just started talking.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
What was that, Sis?
I was saying, what?
Oh, the question was, how do you all see like the physical world of the play, and then how did you try and incorporate that with the graphics and everything like that?
Right.
Ooh, we want to talk about the map. We talked about that map for like a minute. We were like, what does the town
I had
look
to find Jacob on the map. Let me show y'all a picture of what this nigga drew me on the map the first time.
Whenever I read the script, or that part of the script where we're talking about, whenever the guide is talking about the city, I was like, okay, like I pictured like a map, like aerial view, like we're actually looking down and it will say like library, you know, like little roads and stuff. Like that's just what I pictured. And then we got this and I was like, all right, that works. You know, it was a little different, but.
So Jacob didn't read the script. The graphic designer did not read the script. And he was like, and I kept telling him, just read the script. Like there's like Gage literally described the map, the town map.
It's all there.
All there. And then Jacob said, you mean like this?
Wait.
Texas.
I'm crying.
I was like, Chad. Anyways, yeah, read this script. And I was like, right. And then he sent me the real. I was like, right.
Yeah.
You know, and so definitely on Broadway, Henny, it's gonna be a little bit more extravagant. But yeah, but I mean, we were very blessed with what we have. What was I gonna say? Y'all, somebody like drew Damon and Andrea's bedroom last night.
Yeah.
And
Right?
Oh wow, yeah.
keep that shit coming, because like this is community. Like this is together. If y'all on Instagram want to set this on this bitch, come on. Like, because that's the job that hasn't been done yet. You know what I mean? Keep that coming. That's good to know.
Yes, like this is like a new work. So it's a collaboration with us and the community. And y'all are so talented. Damn.
Yeah, but thank you, Noah. Yeah, I definitely just see the world as like, when this show goes to Broadway, it's gonna be something that the girls ain't checked in with before. Like it's gonna be like innovative.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for answering my question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noah.
We love our guests.
Yeah. It was also really cool to like design not design, but like to think of like what the world looks like, because like, you know, we said it in Texas and it's like Sis is from Texas, I'm from Texas, Gavin's from Texas. It's like these little small towns that we all know of, like, and like being able to like draw from that, like, you know, people are always saying like draw from your life, but like it's like it was just fun to like put our culture, like our Southern culture, into the show. Yeah.
Because I remember at some point we were like, how Southern are we gonna make this?
Mm-hmm. We were like,
in the chat. We were like, come on, Houston, come on. We do have go ahead, Sis.
somebody in the thing said, is there a scene you're particularly excited to see about transferring to the stage? So when this show's on Broadway, this is how I'm gonna direct the barbecue scene. The Winfrey's barbecue joint is going to be on a rotator. So there's going to be the inside and there's going to be outside and there's going to be two sides to it. So you're going to see the two sides of the restaurant. So what's going to happen is like there's going to be like doors inside and stuff like that. So whenever like the scene with like Emery, Kai, Milk Danny, and Paper Girl, and Officer Pruitt and stuff, it's gonna be happening outside the restaurant. Then it's going to rotate. We're going to see all the people come into the restaurant like from inside and stuff like that. Then the moment with like Kai and Damon, we're going to see like that happening on the side. Then Andrea Adame and Victoria is going to be on the other side. Like, so we're going to have that rotate. So that's something I'm particularly excited to see about going to the stage. What are y'all excited?
I'm really excited to see the parallel scene with the siblings where we're talking about ancestry. And I'm really excited to see what is done stylistically during Antonio's Damon. During Damon's big monologue with the roots and just all that lovely imagery. I'm just so excited to see that in a physical space.
I've got two things. So I've got one, I'm so excited to see the guide scene with all of the guides.
Period.
I'm
excited for that one. But language-wise, literally some of the best writing I've ever done was Mrs. Winfrey's Prayer, and I'm so excited to see that whole scene play out in terms of like dialogue and language. But visually, I'm so excited for all of the guides.
Y'all know in Slave Play, Gavin saw it. Gage, did you see Slave Play?
Yeah, I saw it.
You know, at the end of act, the before the shit gets crazy, and like Chalia, and the other girl like comes from the top. That's what I'm thinking from the guys. Like if they're in boxes, you know what I mean? And like they appear, like there was this type of like glitter scrim or something that they could slide away to slowly appear. Yeah. Hey Sammy. Yes, Jasmine, a tree that continuously grows. Yes, honey.
So cute. Antonio, what scenes are you excited about or seeing?
I'm super excited to see like all of the like ethereal, like Andrea, like right after the Christmas scene, like all that. Because like in the stage directions, we have like she touches the stars and like stuff like that. Like I just want to see that like magical realism stuff on the stage. But yeah, I'm also super excited to see like how we transfer the siblings scene, because it's like, I don't know, that's like my favorite scene I've ever written. But yeah, I don't know, it's just beautiful. Like I just feel like everyone should, like sibling relationships like that are so beautiful. So I'm excited to see it.
I'm excited for all the bonnets. Like I'm excited for Mrs. Winfrey's bonnet, for Andrea's bonnet in that scene. Like I'm excited for that. Like I'm excited for the props. Like I can't wait to see like the Broadway version of this book.
Oh, period. Also, I have another question for y'all. So this show is so identity heavy and just so wonderful and rich and authentic in that sense. What did it look like for each of you to bring yourselves fully into this show? For the brown and black folks on the video call, for the queer folks on the video call, what did it look like specifically for you to bring that truth of your own identity to this script and this production? Got blinks.
Did what I was told, but I honestly, like just everything that I've learned, like I taught myself everything. Like if I don't know how to do something, I'll go on YouTube and be like, how do I make this do this? You know, I'll like read about it, like everything that I've kind of like just put into my little like Rolodex of little like things I know. Like that's basically like my contribution, like how I am able to put things, you know, because I don't want to overstep. But you know, yeah, I think that's it for me. Just like my little learnings and knowledge and stuff.
Yes.
Shout out to Kirsten Vaughn, the stage manager. I have never had more joy dealing with the stage manager than I have Kirsten Vaughn. Like, and we're getting to work with the black stage manager. Sorry, anyway.
No, we love, this is like a Kirsten fan club here in our offering. But yes, what was it to bring the truth of yourselves to this production?
For me, it was about making characters queer. And anytime there was like, even like, I remember when we decided to make Shannon and Christine, I remember that conversation when we were like, what if there's like, we don't have to go too into it because like, I know they're not like the main characters and like they're, but like, what if there's just like a little bit? And then like the little tiny scene with Otis and Emery, it was just like having those little moments that even though they're small, they can be so impactful just to see that kind of representation on stage.
You know.
Somebody said the church lesbians.
I think for me, I mean, the God is like, it was like, it's interesting because last night I was like very content with the parallel between Sis and the Guide and who these people are and like the essences of each other. And I love that is the role that I'm playing in life, and that's the role like the God has cast me as. And so I think the Cheetah Girls monologue is really beautiful, and it's something that is definitely growing on me more and more because at first when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. This is my story. So like, you know, it already hit for me. It already happened for me. You know, when you're living your life, you don't really sit down and be like, oh, that was so purposeful, you know. But now to like have it embedded in a script and embedded in text and have this person telling this story of me, it gives you hope that people are always watching you and always looking out for you. You know what I mean? And so to think that in that moment, you know, with the Cheetah Girls, like that was something for me, Baby Cameron, like to have this person was watching over them and that the story was curated for them, you know. I think that means a lot. That so I'm glad that there's an essence of me in a script. I think that's exciting, and I can't wait to like see the other guys like that come then with info after I do, and like you know.
It's so beautiful. It's so good. Antonio?
For me, it was really about like, I'm biracial, right? So like black and brown, like, and I was like, to me, it was very
By what?
racial.
Okay.
It was very important for me to like showcase our nuance, and like erase a lot of stigma. And so like I really wanted to like I wrote a lot of the Damon and Andrea stuff. And so like for when I was like writing the when I was when I was writing them, I really wanted to showcase that like, you know, Black boys can be like very vulnerable and like and soft, and like that's not a bad thing, and it doesn't, you know, lean towards a binary, but that's just like what they can be. And Black women can be like powerful and determined and like and headstrong, and I really wanted to like showcase all of those things, because we are nuanced people, like we're complex. And then I also really wanted to, especially when it came to like the scenes where like the kids were talking to their parents and things like that, the ones that I wrote, at least, like I really wanted to write conversations that I feel like I would have liked to have had when I was younger, like with my parents or like with older people in my community. And I was like wanted to write stuff that I feel like benefits younger people to see, like if like, because especially in like Black and brown communities, like there's a lot of, it's hard to like be open about like your emotions, like there's just stigma that surrounds everything. And so like especially with the scene with Damon and his dad at the very end of the play, I really was like, this scene is so important to me because like I just feel like sometimes like Black and brown boys like don't necessarily get to have those kinds of conversations with their fathers a lot. And so that was really important to me, and conversations like that were really important to me, because we feel those emotions. We're not just, you know, monoliths. Like we're not just like singular beings. Like we have complexities, and I wanted to showcase that and get away from those stereotypes.
Yeah, this is so radical in so many different ways. And this show is the answer to like, well, we couldn't find enough, or like we don't know how to this. Like this is how you do it. With that in mind. Oh, go ahead, sis.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it was it's crazy because as I was watching the show, like when we were doing it, like I was able to see myself as a Black woman on screen, and getting to see that validation of a Black trans woman and a plus size woman on screen telling this story, living her life, being beautiful, was crazy for me. And to think that I was able to provide that representation for myself is just speaks thousands for like y'all gotta wait and ask nobody for nothing. We have to get away from that mindset. I saw myself, I represented myself on my own, and I'm happy now, bitch. I'm a Black woman, and getting to sitting in this guide scene and me being in the center of this and hearing all these people talk about we are Black women, we are Black and brown women, we are women, and me just getting that revalidation, and I'm like, it's here. So I think that is very beautiful, and that's I like Gage, like, oh, you did that with that guide scene, like that was it, top 10. And it was just fun. Like the guide scene is like, I want more of that shit. And when we were creating that scene, I was like, that's how I want that scene to be. I want that scene to be the dream sequence that like we look at that scene like it could be a whole nother show. You know what I mean? Somebody said Asian representation next. Yes, and Miss Hannah is gonna shake the world up in the cafeteria scene. Yes, and
Yeah, and that's why I love this so much, is because like it's a work in progress. Like we're still doing stuff, but yeah.
For sure. Also, we got some Mr. Reyes thirst in the chat. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and validate that.
Yeah, we love you
in the chat right now.
I love Anthony.
Yeah, with how transformative this has all been, what are some takeaways that you would like to offer to like other young brown and Black and trans and queer folks who have been systematically oppressed by the white supremacy within the theater industry and don't quite know what to do or where to go?
Say that again.
What do we want to tell the little Black and brown and queer and trans kids who don't know, who like are being oppressed by theater and how white it is and how straight it is and how cis it is? And like, what do we want to tell these young folks who don't quite know what to do?
Boots on Flavor of Love once said, I'ma stay in the house and I'ma keep shaking my ass like I've been doing. And that is what I say to you. Did y'all hear me? Because y'all cut out.
No, I heard.
We heard. And that's perfect. That's all you need.
Keep shaking your ass like y'all been doing, and eventually somebody gonna watch you.
Period.
What do you think, Gage and Antonio?
Wait, what?
I said, what do you think, Gage and Antonio?
Oh. Well, all of that, yes. I would, I don't know. I went to like a very, very like predominantly white college, like university for my training. And like, it really took, I just graduated. So like, it really took this project for me to be like, I don't need permission from the things that are the institutions that people tell me are like bigger than me, like are superior than me, like, Broadway, whatever. Like, I don't need to like, how do I say this? I don't have to have to consistently like shoot for those white spaces in order to like hear my voice. Like I can just speak my voice and like tell my stories and someone will listen. And that's more important than like not doing that. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, like it's we're told it's like difficult to market non-white stories. It's difficult. It's like, no, like how many people streamed our offering last night? Thousands. So there is an audience, and anybody who tells you differently is lying, and they're probably racist. So with that, period, we do have our next guest ready to come on in. Sierra, you can go ahead and throw Maggie on the screen. Hello, Maggie.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
So I had a quick question about the setting, which y'all started to talk about, but like I love seeing so many people on the creative team and the cast like from Houston and like representing Texas and like also the small cities and everything. So I just wanted to ask, like, because I know Texas is so diverse and so like rich with culture, yet there are so many people here that are still like they won't listen, and that's what like I've been thinking about a lot and stuff. And so how much of the story stemmed from your experiences, if you have any here, you know what I mean?
I love the line, "Who am I? I am everything." I think that is a direct like understanding of like how people should look at themselves in life. Like you have to look at yourself. Like the guide means like ethereally and celestially she's everything, but also she is that bitch. And if you walk through life and you see yourselves as everything in that bitch, not meaning you're taking away from others, you know what I mean? But you do what you do and you do it well, and you walk in rooms at being everything that you are, that is purposeful and that is productive.
Antonio, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering if somebody else is gonna pick it up. I feel like we definitely drew from like our experiences here in Texas. Like I don't know, I just feel like this is like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's so like I just like we put our foot in this thing. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it was like very easy and like it wasn't like we were necessarily like thinking super hard about it while we were writing. It was just like and like creating it. It was just like this is like what we've experienced and like it was just like it is what it is. It's like you know when people are like I say what I say, like that's just I don't know. And so like growing up in Texas and like you said, like there's so many people here that like don't listen and like don't understand, and there's like a lot of racism here because it's like the deep South. But there's still like such a rich culture. And I was talking to Sis about this like midway through the process of like the type of actors that we like want to inhabit these roles and like how Southern of a play it is, and that like when you're like being from the South is like such a specific experience. Like there's like if like from the hospitality to like the manner, like there's so many things that are so specific to being from the South that like we put into this play. And then on top of that, layering in like what it means to be Black in the South, what it means to be brown in the South and queer in the South, and like all those layers to it that I think it's like it's so nuanced. And like when we like finding actors who like understand that or just like naturally have it because they're from the South, like that's what was beautiful to me. It was just being like, yeah, like this is a shared experience that we have that is sort of like hard to like fully describe, but like when you see it, like you know what it is. Like, yeah.
And even like in terms of physical setting, like we were definitely channeling different areas of Texas that were like, okay, like come on a little bit of San Antonio, come on a little bit of Houston, come on a little bit of West Texas, and even like the Houston Freedmen's Town, right, was like a huge influence on Rivera Falls. And so like this is as much of a love letter to Texas and the South as it is a love letter to like us as a group of communities. Yes, did anybody else have anything else they wanted to add? Beautiful. Well, thank you much,
guys.
That's such a good
question.
question.
The show, and I'm going to be talking about it for months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Oh man, good energy. We have a follow-up question in the chat. So yesterday, for those who didn't attend the stage door meet and greet, we threw around a new idea of adding in another guide based off of a lovely guest, Hannah, who attended our stage door stuff. So we have a question: is there somebody already cast as Hannah, or is this for when the show is moved to Broadway? Oh, Sis, you're muted.
what I'm thinking is gonna happen for Hannah is Hannah's gonna be added. God Belinda is gonna stay, and God Belinda will double as Hannah. So as of now, Yasmin is cast as God Belinda. So Yasmin will probably yes, anyway. But as of now, Yasmin will play Hannah in the early latter part of the show and the earlier part of the show.
So excited. So I love how everybody's like, the move to Broadway. It is inevitable, period.
Well, you have to invest it. I mean, the thing about it is like you have to you have to manifest. You have to speak it into existence. You have to this is happening, you know? Because if we're like, oh, if we go to Broadway, then that's lame.
Weak. How spiritual was this for everybody? Like, was this like
my pussy was hot?
We said the ancestors are gonna see it today.
Oh, for sure. I felt like the ancestors were literally just speaking through me the whole time. Every single day I was writing. I don't know. It was just like I don't Gage, I feel like you have like we've talked about this. Like I go back and read some of that stuff and I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I wrote that. Like I'm literally like, don't know where that came from, don't know how those words came out of my mouth or like my hands, but like is there like that's just like, and that's I feel like that's when you know you have something special is like when I'm like I don't even know where that came from.
Like you were truly like a true vessel. We love that. Go ahead, sis.
Every time an act ended, me, Gage, and Antonio and Gavin hugged. And it was like we did it. Like, just felt so connected.
That's beautiful. Gavin, what is your opinion on the Zoom productions that are going on right now? Like, do you feel as though people should challenge themselves to do something more like this? Because this was like breaking new frontier. And how do you think this kind of storytelling will endure past the pandemic?
So yeah, this is like new. I haven't really watched a lot of Zoom theater. I've seen it. I think it's cool. Like I am able to like be invested in the story and stuff. Like but I think like with this kind of like style, it just like makes it a little bit more like like the question we were asked earlier, like it makes it a little bit more like inclusive and like exciting, but I mean, yeah, like I think, what was the question again?
Do you think like this will endure past the pandemic? Like,
I think, yeah, like how everyone's kind of like, okay, we can all work from home now. Like, like I think that this is kind of a thing for theater that like, along with live theater, it can like go on because people watched it. People are watching it. People loved it. Like, I think it's kind of like a new thing that can like, there's live theater, there's film, and then there's like stuff like this, so yeah, I think it's like definitely something that can continue on. I hope it will continue on. And if you have like, if you're working on something and you have like people that know how to do it, like do it, reach out to me, pay me, like, yeah.
I'm gonna put my boosie's rates, honey.
Get that check.
Going up.
$300 an hour, honey. I'm his manager, honey. So I take out 10%.
Right. We got a bank account. I don't know if y'all know that, but that's it.
Also, y'all make Yasmina stand Kim, honey. Make my Yasmina Kim. Yasmina start the prayer with your video so they can make you fan Kim.
Do it.
I had a question. What was that question was gonna be?
I wanted to add on to what Gavin was saying.
Go for it.
About from like a playwriting perspective, I think that from a lot of playwrights, there's this hesitation to explore digital theater within like the current construct of theater. It's like if you have like high schoolers on stage, they're on their phones all the time. Like why would you not write them as being on their phones, and what kind of innovative ways can you start to make it, and we've kind of done this with this. It's like a hybrid of like recorded things, of Zoom calls, of graphic design. Like, what is it when you do like a play about a TikToker and you like see the TikToker like going through their process on stage, and then on the screen behind them, the actual TikTok is then like shown on the screen. Just like ways to like mix different forms of like video editing and film and theater, and like to make something new, I think is really interesting. And I hope that this exposure to Zoom theater will expand what live theater can be after this is over.
I agree, and especially because like, and this is also part of a larger conversation about theater being recorded and whatnot, but there's like that huge accessibility aspect to it as well, like physical accessibility, financial accessibility. There's a reason a lot of people just don't see Broadway shows. And it's like mainly white people seeing Broadway shows. So like this is a really cool equalizer.
Yeah. And the shit be racist.
Racist.
Like somebody trying to see no show about no white people. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is there's so much validity to that when it we white people have had their chance at bat. It's like when you are in middle school, you're in elementary school, right? And y'all playing softball, and sometimes they would get the same people to play because they were like the best at it. But no, we all here. Everybody needs a chance at bat. Everybody needs a chance to kick the ball. You know what I mean? Regardless if they're good or bad or whatever you think. So I think it's about that. It's like it's time for other people to have a turn in the limelight. You know what I mean? So step aside, honey. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any last questions, comments, thoughts, calls to action for the public? How to get our offering on Broadway? Y'all keep talking about it. Keep using the hashtag. Keep adding people. Keep the social media campaigns coming. Keep the fan cams coming and the art coming. We're living for it. Anthony was like,
who y'all think we should keep to Broadway, and who y'all think we gotta do?
No, not that.
I was kidding. I know sis is crazy. I do want to say that I've been cooking today. There's more. There's more virtually. There is more. There's more virtually. There's more. There is more. There's more coming. Not too much, Hunter. There's a date pick. The show will be performed again. So tell y'all friends, it's coming soon. And there's a lot to come. Tonight, Niall is gonna cook up something for y'all. Keep this fucking fan art coming because that's fucking beautiful. But y'all are just the fans of the show, and the people who are invested in the show are just as much a part of this creative team as we are. And this is community. I know they need commission, honey. Yes, we gonna open y'all a cash out for the offering fan art.
And one last question for sis, just a fun one, a quick one. Who is your dream person to collab with? Ooh, hard question.
I can't wait to. I mean, yes. There's so many people. I can't wait to see the day that there is going to be a deadline, Hollywood Reporter article, Variety article that says Sis and Janet Mock, pin Gage, Tarlton, and Antonio Lasanta's, whatever. And in that, like, Kaya is in it. Like, Eva is in it. Like, all of my, amazing friends and all of my people, Megan Thee Stallion is in it. Like, all of that, I can't wait to see that. So we'll see, we'll see.
So dream person is everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
And that's all there is to it.
Maria is my PR girl. Period.
Oh yeah, I was the new work facilitator and sensitivity coordinator of this project. I never said what I did. And y'all heard my voice in stage directions. That's it.
Yeah.
But Yasmin will be dropping all of our social media handles in the chat shortly. We thank everybody so much for tuning in, for donating, for watching, for hyping this up on Twitter. This is such an exciting family to watch, like, be born and grow already. Y'all stay tuned for more content, as Sis said.
I have something to say. So we raised over $6,000.
Yeah.
Next Generation, thank y'all so much. We raised over $6,000 for over 444 people donated. And around 4,000 people watch the show. So let's keep it going, y'all. Let's keep it going. Yeah. When we do this encore presentation, I want that to be 10,000, and we got some good stuff for the stands. If y'all will support us and ride for us, I promise I will ride for y'all, and I got some shit coming for y'all for us. This is our offering.
Absolutely. Y'all, thank y'all so much. We will see you when we see you. That's all we have for today. Bye, y'all.